Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. We have Aryna Sabalenka versus Coco Gauff for the Madrid 2025 final. This should be an absolute blockbuster. The head-to-head is tied 4 apiece between the two, and Gauff leads the head-to-head on clay 2-1. We're going to get into it, talk about their route to the final, talk about how they're going to match up as well on court, in my opinion, and ultimately we will give you guys my prediction. Before we do get into it though, remember to hit that like button, do subscribe if you're new, and do leave a rating or review if you're listening on a podcast platform. Thank you for your support, it's much appreciated. Okay, so let's talk about this matchup. Both players are, in my opinion, playing some really good high-level tennis in Madrid at the moment. For Coco, it's been, I would say, a pretty turbulent season. She had a really good start at the United Cup, and then after that, it's been, I would say, a bit underwhelming, to say the least. Now she's made the final here in Madrid. I think she's found her groove. The forehand has been looking good, and a couple of statement wins. For her, she has got wins over Yastremska. Interestingly, Yastremska took the first set in that match 6-love, and then Gauff came back. Gauff then beat Lee, Bencic, and Draver, who of course has had a fantastic season so far. And then a big statement win against Iga Swiatek, beating her 6-1, 6-1. Incredibly dominating win over the pole. Only dropped the single set in that first round against Yastremska. Otherwise, she's looked very impressive. For Sabalenka, I think it's been an easier route, it's fair to say, and that tends to be the case as the number 1 seed. Blinkova, Mertens, Stearns, Kostyuk, and Svitolina hasn't dropped, or sorry, she did drop a set against Elise Mertens. Other than that one set, she's looked very good, Sabalenka. So, in terms of other bits to talk about, the most recent matchup was at the Australian Open, and Sabalenka defeated Gauff in the semi-final stage. Sorry, it wasn't this year, it was Australian Open of last year, and Sabalenka defeated Gauff at the semi-final stage. As I said though, Gauff does lead the head-to-head on clay 2-1. There's something to be said about Gauff having a really good chance in this match, and her forehand held up really well against Swiatek. I think if we talk about it tactically, the clay, even though it's in Madrid, and yes, the ball does fly through the air more, as soon as the ball hits the surface is when it slows down. I think for Coco, that added time that she has off the surface is just really key for her. I think on the forehand, I think it really helps with her technique, it helps with her comfort level, and she's able to just hit through the ball a lot. I would say with a lot more confidence than anything, and that showed against Iga. Her movement is phenomenal, as we know, on any surface. Clay, hard court, and grass. I think she's a fantastic mover. Defends really well, can slice and dice it, has a variety. Big first serve when it's firing, and the backhand is super solid. I think the biggest issues have always come from that forehand wing. Looks to have been sorted, at least in the short term. And she's got a really good net game as well, Coco. She's a fantastic all-round player. For Sabalenka, we know that her game is going to be very aggressive. She's going to look to play off the front foot, hit big off the forehand and backhand. And any chance she has to hit a winner or hit an aggressive shot, she will attempt to execute those quote-unquote riskier shots that maybe some of the safer players, more conservative players wouldn't. What she's done really well with Sabalenka since the start of 2024 really is choosing the right moments to be aggressive, and in other times, or at other times, she will play with a bit more margin. She'll still hit the ball super hard, as she always does, really goes after it, but she might just give herself a bit more margin in terms of depth or width on court, so she doesn't make as many errors. And I think that's been a really big addition to her game. That patience, the drop shot as well is a big addition, I think, personally. I've seen her being more proactive coming to the net as well. And on clay, that can be a good ploy if your opponent's playing really deep behind the baseline. I actually don't think either player is going to play particularly deep behind the baseline. I think it's going to be quite high pace from the baseline exchanges, and it might be, who blinks first, which most likely will be Sabalenka. But you'd also imagine that it's probably not going to be neutral rallies. I think Sabalenka will be more likely than not the one on the front foot in a lot of those exchanges. One of the biggest things to look out for me is Sabalenka going big with her own forehand into the forehand of Gauff. How does the forehand hold up? I think from the serve return dynamic, both have got big serves and can cause damage. I actually think on return, Sabalenka is generally very effective because she's just able to see the ball so early and strike it so clean, deep, with a lot of spin as well to rush the opponent. And she'll do the same against Gauff off the second serve return. She will step in, try and make it aggressive, try and put pressure on the server. I think for Gauff, the forehand, as I said, is going to be a big test to see how it holds up against Sabalenka's firepower. On the serve return dynamic, she's one of the best returners on tour. And Gauff has so much going for her. You sometimes wonder, does she need to play more aggressively? I don't think it's that. I actually think she needs to execute her game plans better, and the feet are a massive part of that. And it's crazy because she's a great mover. But for Coco, there's a big factor, I think, that needs to be discussed, which is because she has that elite movement, that strong, steady backhand, serves improving the forehand, looks like it's firing more. She will probably need to try and frustrate Sabalenka with high topspin, push Sabalenka back and out wide, use that buggy whip forehand at times to get out of trouble and neutralize her as quickly as possible in those exchanges to then actually take over herself, Gauff. And off the front foot, she's going to have some success because Sabalenka, even though her defensive capabilities have improved, they haven't improved enough, I don't think, for it to not be any sort of issue anyway. And I think from, a Coco Gauff point of view, she'll be thinking, look, can I enforce a lot of errors from Sabalenka? And then if she's able to do that, then okay, fine. She's put herself in a really, really steady position because, Sabalenka is someone who wants to be on the front foot. She gets frustrated when she's not able to do so effectively. So the mental game could be quite important in that one as well. In terms of predictions, I think Gauff has had the better people to play against. She's had the harder people to play against. And I think for Sabalenka, it's been an easier route. But she's also in her fourth final. So she's at fourth straight final. So, prediction time. I'm going to go for... I'm actually going to go with Sabalenka in 3 sets. Thanks very much, guys. Stay safe and well. We'll see you on the next video.